Hey guys, welcome to It's Live Saturday night with the boys from the We're Just Fans podcast. I got Rios in the house. Let them know what's up, Rios.
Come on, guys.
And of course, our guest tonight, we got Tanner from the Whiskey Sports podcast, and of course from Sports Buffoon. How's it going there, Tanner?
It's rolling, man. How about you guys?
Well, we're good, man. We're just chilling. It's a Saturday night. We were just hanging out. I got my girlfriend into Breaking Bad, kind of, so it's kind of cool.
Years later.
I know, right? Hey, man, we all got to start somewhere.
I still haven't seen the full series. I've only seen a couple episodes. I'm not much of a TV series guy, honestly. So, let alone movie guy. Like for me, the series that I follow the most that I've watched, and it's of course my nerdy side, but it's Star Wars and the Avengers story, right? So, I'm all over those. Bro, outside of that, I don't really get into it. So, I mean, I should. I'm sure I would be addicted, but I just don't do it.
Nah, man. Same thing. Like we're big, we're like big Star Wars and Marvel nerds over here. So it's always fun to watch that. Like we always do like the sports stuff. So these Batman is not Marvel, sir.
I said DC.
We didn't hear you. No, like we're big, like nerds as well when it comes to like the Marvel stuff or Star Wars or even DC. For me, I'm not a big DC movie fan. I'm more like I do like the animated stuff that they have though. The animated DC stuff is always legit.
Good old school ones, like growing up. I love those.
Exactly.
Ones. I get with those.
Oh, I know exactly. I think one of my favorites, the one about the Mask of the Phantasm with Batman. That one was a classic.
That was a good one.
That's like one of my favorites, man. Like
that was a good one.
That's a good one, no, for sure, man. But we're into that, and I'm like excited. I'm ready to see Quantum Mania. Like that's
I know.
I want to see how that story develops or how they're setting up the MCU for Phase 5 too. That's gonna be fun.
See how long they can keep the hype going. That's all
I know.
Like the more and more, it's just like okay, we're still there.
Yeah.
So we'll see how long they can keep the hype going on it.
Exactly. Yeah, we could go like a whole episode just talking about Marvel stuff and like the whole tangents of my ADD is just gonna go off to different tangents of like what's gonna happen in the next few.
It's gonna be like me from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. All these people.
Exactly. Oh great. Man, yeah, this is good stuff, man. So Tanner, man, I put it on a tweet today that you're a Kansas City Chiefs fan. For those friends who are not familiar with you, and man, you must be excited. How do you feel? Again, your Chiefs are going to the Super Bowl. I feel like I kind of relate to you in a way. Like we kind of relate to you because we're Astros fans. So like, oh, again in the World Series. So how do you guys feel? Yeah, how do you guys feel again?
It's really cool to be. I never would have thought I'd see 3 Super Bowls in my lifetime. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I was happy with the first one. Tampa Bay Bucks one happened. Like, crap happens, right? And injuries happen so much. And now we're back here against Philly in the Kelsey Bowl, and it's very cool. It's very cool to be kind of just seeing that as a fan going into play. I mean, we were bad for so long, right? I'm an '89 baby. Didn't really pay attention to Chiefs until I started knowing what football was in 98, 99. So I got to start seeing that happen, but it was so bad, during those years, basically until Andy Reid came. And once Andy Reid came, there was like, oh, we got a little hope, right? I mean, there was hope. Finally they're there. If only the Royals could do that, give us hope, but we won't go there. It was seeing the hope. And then the owner, Clark Hunt, he was really into it. Like, hey, we need to be better. Like he fired GMs like Dorsey, who brought in Alex Smith and helped Reid and brought in a pretty solid roster in that 16 range. And they ended up canning him because it wasn't a good relationship with players and the way they were cut, the way they were traded, stuff like that happened. The contracts were bad. And then they ended up trusting Reid and not letting what Philly did to Reid is the biggest thing. Which was be a GM and a coach, right?
Yeah.
They got another GM in there, a guy that knows the organization. And I mean, how cool is it? How cool is it to be 5 AFC championships in a row, 3 Super Bowls out of those 5, and just the excitement for it. Just excitement to be able to see a guy like Patrick Mahomes continue to blossom. You would think at some point there's going to be a downfall in 5 years. There really hasn't been.
Yeah. He hasn't, and that's sorry. 1 second before we start talking about Mahomes. Says Daniel_Chicken Mine says, just wanted to say that Carlos Mills, carry on. For those of you who don't know, that's Poppy, who couldn't be here today, but he still decides to make a comment.
How does he misspell chicken?
Oh my God, he did misspell chicken, didn't he?
He probably had to. It's probably taken.
Probably was taken or something like that. But
Yeah.
first of all, what kind of screen name is that? That's what I'm trying to figure out. So for those of you wondering, that's Poppy's YouTube account. Go mess with him. That'll be the thing.
Go troll him.
We'll troll him. Make fun of his hair. Yeah, all that. Anyway, sorry about that. Yeah, apparently he couldn't come. He said he had plans today.
Gotcha. I think he's the only one of your crew I haven't met. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Because every time we've been on your show,
it's just Rios and you.
It's just Rios and I. No, it's okay. You're not missing out much. You're not missing out. It's nothing special.
One day, I'll get
one day, and then you're gonna be then when you bring him on the show afterwards, you're gonna be like, you know what? You're right. He's mid at best.
You know what? We're gonna bring on this guy and this guy. That guy might get left out.
That guy, yeah, no, that guy.
He's like a chubbier Fizz.
What was the thing? He's like, America. Remember that?
America. Yes.
Oh, man. All right. Sorry. Going back to Patrick Mahomes. See, we get a little sidetracked here and there. Going back to Patrick Mahomes, I got to say, man, from an outsider's perspective looking in, we're obviously Texans fans. We, seeing
You've experienced the Mahomes.
Oh, yeah. We've experienced
Watson,
Mahomes.
right?
Yeah.
You have 27-0.
Yeah. It's been.
My soul died a little bit.
Yeah.
I would imagine. Mine did against the Colts in 2003.
Yeah,
same kind of deal. So
we all go through it, man. And it's but no, like I said, like Mahomes is like that's gonna be the future QB. Like what Tom Brady was. He might even end up breaking Tom Brady's records and stuff like that. In my opinion, he's the greatest there is right now. Like there's nobody better right now.
Technically, the best postseason QB.
Yeah.
That's what a lot of people are. What the stats are saying.
Right.
In his 5 years, essentially.
Correct. Yeah.
No, he's 5 out of 6 technically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, Mahomes is great. Like, there's absolutely no doubt. He's clutch, and he's there when we need him to. Like, at the beginning of this season, obviously we talk about our Texans all the time because we're fans of the Texans. But like, we had our picks, and we honestly didn't think that Mahomes would get this far this year because of the loss of Tyreek Hill. And then, boy, were we wrong. Like, it was just great seeing him. Like even with different receivers that he had on, and just like he was still able to make a show, and he was still able to make it back again to the Super Bowl. Like, that's just incredible.
Well, he had one returning receiver from the last couple of years with Mecole Hardman returning.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else is new, and then Kemp came on halfway through the season back. But outside of Kemp and Mecole, that's a whole new receiving core, and that's an uncertain Juju, who's been plagued with injuries for his past 3 years coming into this. And I was worried about that. I did not like the Juju signing just because of the injury history. I'm like, look, we need a guy that's going to be there on the field. And, I'll give him credit. Majority of the season, that guy's been there and he's been effective. I'll definitely say I'm wrong about that one, but it's just the way he's able to work with these receivers in this past game, right? Juju out. Mecole goes out back with his hip injury. Very unfortunate for him too. Like he pushed hard to play on that game, and looks like he might be out for the Super Bowl end up. So
I know,
and then Tony trying to cut it like he always does, hurts his ankle. So you lose 3 receivers. Granted, you still got Kelsey. You got all those tight ends still too, luckily for that part. But just be able to work with a guy like Sky Moore, Marcus Kemp, who's been off and on the roster and special teams, kind of the key guy, and just make it work. I don't know how he does it. It's amazing.
It's amazing how they do it. Do you feel like it's a lot if a lot of it is actually just Mahomes just being clutch, or do you feel like it's like a lot of it has to do also with like Eric Bieniemy and Andy Reid? What do you think? Or do you think it's a mixture of both?
I'd go not as much Bieniemy, honestly. I think I'd go more the Reid Mahomes combo. Like Reid is the one that has essentially prepped Mahomes for this, right?
Okay.
And then adding Nagy back into the offense as well has been a huge boost because Nagy was the original guy for Mahomes, if you remember. And like having Nagy back there as a QB's coach, hopefully if Bieniemy leaves, we can get him on the offensive coordinator if he doesn't get poached, yet. But I think Reed, just being the kind of guy he is, being able to bring out the best in QBs, is probably more of the guy to give credit to in this. Honestly, I mean, look what he did with Mike Vick when he came back.
Yeah.
Like, he made him look relevant again. Donovan McNabb, after McNabb left, granted he was a little older, but McNabb left, he didn't look the same, not at all. And then Alex Smith, right, who got beat out by Colin Kaepernick, essentially after a couple injuries. Whole new quarterback, goes to Washington, gets that, the team friendly deal, trades to Washington, gets signed for big money. It's all, I think it's all credit to Reed. He just knows how to work the guys he's covered. He knows how to make, basically uplift their talent and have them understand. I think you can give partial credit to Mahomes of being able to take in that, that information, take in all the advice, and being able to read these plays and, execute essentially at the end. Like, I really do think it's a big combo between those two. Right. I'd give more to Reed because of just what he's done in the past. I mean, he was back there for the young Brett Favre days too, in the Green Bay world, like, this guy's been around and he makes quarterbacks better. And some of those backups too for Eagles, if you guys remember, like Ty Detmer looked relevant for a little bit. Detmer, like, certain guys, it's like, oh, this is actually a Reed thing. And it might, with Mahomes coming into this program, let's just say Reed leaves in the next 3 years, I still feel like Mahomes will play at a high level just because all the knowledge and everything that he's learned from Reed, it'll help them. It'll help his career tremendously.
And I think you just answered my next question, because I was going to ask you how, let's say like you guys end up winning it all in the Super Bowl, and then I was going to ask you, how long do you see Andy Reid sticking with the Kansas City Chiefs?
A couple of years ago, actually back when we won it, 19, he was like, hey, I feel rejuvenated. I feel youthful. He's really worked on his health, his weight, his body essentially as well, because he wants to stick around. He loves the game. And you can see it. You can see it in the post-game meetings with the players, the conferences, and even more now because, he participated in a commercial. You never seen Andy Reid in a commercial.
Yeah.
Right? How cool is that? Like,
I'm drawing mustaches.
Yeah, and I love the meme of the Burrow one says Burrow on his head. But it's, I think with Mahomes coming into play, it's kind of rejuvenated the guy. What is he now? Is he like 60?
He's in his early 60s, I would say.
Andy Reid age 64.
Yeah,
he's 64. This guy easily has another 6 years.
Okay,
I'd say easily another 6 years, if not more. It's like for my Jayhawks, right? It's like Bill Self, lifetime contract. Essentially, Andy Reid's got a lifetime contract. As long as he wants to come back, he's probably welcome back. I can't imagine Clark couldn't be like, oh, nope, you're it. We got to go younger. You win. You come back.
That's the new trend right now. We got to go to the younger coaches. So Andy Reid, you're out.
Look,
Bill O'Brien, you're hired.
Yeah, right. Yeah, there we go. That's all we need again, or you guys to see in a head coach. But
we're good.
Level the playing field a little bit so we can get it.
The Patriots got him this year. So the Patriots got him next season. So we'll see how that goes.
They needed something there. So I mean, we
apparently,
saw what happened there.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think Bill Belichick finally figured out, hey, I can't really do both of these things at once right now.
Matt Patricia's not offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
That wasn't pretty. I mean,
who was it? Like, you just can't stick like Matt Patricia there, and that's it.
Yeah. He was like what? It was, I can stick, quality coaches in certain roles and their flourish. Yeah. It's like, look, man, that's not quite how it goes.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't awful, but it wasn't, what you wanted. So
right.
It was Madden and Ricky mode. It was bad.
When you got Mac Jones out there screaming in his headset,
really again?
Something's wrong.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man, yeah. That's like I said, they got Bill back, and we'll see how that goes. Because Bill, it was rumored here, and this is not to make it about us or anything, but it was rumored that when Bill O'Brien was here, a lot of the reasons why he made a lot of those trades was because he wanted out. He wanted out of Houston, and he wanted to get a gig over there with the Pats. Essentially taking over for Bill Belichick. that was one of the things that was going. It was rumored here. I mean, it wasn't ever really confirmed or whatnot.
Was he maybe part of your your guys' team when everybody wanted out? D-Hop,
Yes.
JJ,
Yes.
Bill O'Brien's like, I want the hell out of here. Like, I don't know what you guys are doing. Like, you guys can get out. I can't get out yet.
It definitely was. So like one of our old episodes, I had explained the Jack Easterby character, and they were both running the show when that was happening. It was both Bill O'Brien and Jack Easterby. They were running the show. They were making these ridiculous contracts, and they were the main people who traded over DeAndre Hopkins for David Johnson and what Reels calls a half-eaten sandwich. Is that correct?
Yes.
And so, I hate that because I always sound like I'm beating a dead horse here. But man, how can I forget that? Like I can't forget that. As a fan, you don't forget when your team does like the most abysmal trades or moves that you think to yourself. Even myself as a fan, why? Like, why would you go to those lengths?
Those two were driving the Titanic straight into the iceberg, not even trying to avoid it. Straight into the iceberg.
Like, you upset Deshaun, right? And then he sits, he ends up sitting out a whole year, which kills your team in a way too. D-Hop, who's coming off a little bit of a beat up season injury, but you could still get a haul for him. Like, there's no reason to trade him out away for David Johnson.
You could have gotten picks. Like, if that was going to happen, you could have gotten picks for him and gotten something better. But the fact that you didn't know what you were doing, Jack Easter, that Jack didn't know what he was doing, and Bill O'Brien there. But the worst part that upset me was that somebody actually signed off on that idea. Like, it's not like they just had full control and said, okay, let's go. It's the front office had control of that. Like, they could have looked at it and be like, are you kidding me? Like, this is nobody was there.
Your ownership has to sign off too. That's a huge move.
Exactly. Like, that's a huge move. You can't just
he was busy playing Mario Kart, so he couldn't be bothered.
Here, no, there Rainbow Road again. Damn it. Just sign it.
Yeah. I always have my Southern accent, Cal McNair voice, and it makes no sense because I'm sure he doesn't talk anything like that. And his wife's name is Hannah, so I'm like, Hannah, they're signing contracts again, Hannah. What am I going to do?
Doing it again, Hannah. That blue show keeps coming after me.
They're doing it again. Anyway, no, and so back to that. That's ridiculous. Back to that. It was just like you made these ridiculous trades. D-Hop being one of them. And we got a shout out by Dan the Man.
Hey Dan.
Hey Dan, what's up, Dan? Nice to see you. Nice to hear from you, bud.
Yeah,
love you, bro. Always great to hear from Dan. Dan the Man, guys, a legend right there. We were blessed with his presence.
Yes.
Anyway, but now Dan, thanks man for the shout out. I appreciate you. Going back to that, it's just like, come on, dude. Like, why didn't anybody like completely think that this was a terrible idea? And they signed off on it. Like we said, there's like no quality control like there whatsoever. No. And that's that started the downfall for the Texans. Like, it started the domino effect of just being awful in every way. And now, they're the laughing stock. However, now, with this D'Amico Ryan's hire, a glimmer, little steps back up, like now they're showing, like the ownership is showing that we should really do something, because they saw this year all those seats empty. It was an away game it was like a home game for the opposite team
for the Chargers
Sunday. For everybody.
For the Chargers. Like, how the Chargers are?
Yeah.
It's always the opposite team. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It felt like a Chargers game. Like,
empty.
See, that's the thing that amazes me too about that franchise. It's like you were one of the dominant teams in the league, right? It was, you guys and Watson, Mahomes and Chiefs come into play. Allen and the Bills were starting to figure stuff out during that time a little bit. You also had Tom, of course, there at the Patriots currently. There was a set. You had a set 4 or 5 teams there. Houston was right up there. Yeah. And then it's like everything after that, essentially that
play
after that first quarter off, that 27-0 lead, man.
Yeah, that Chiefs play after that, it just that was the moment that everything went down.
That was the beginning of the end.
Yeah, that was the beginning.
I mean, we might be looking, because the Bengals are doing a lot of big contracts too. Yeah. Mahomes could ruin 2 teams for all we know now.
Yeah,
after beating.
yeah. Oh, what was I gonna say? Yeah, after that it was downhill from there. But it was sad because like you said, they were competitive. I for like the longest time, I thought that it was gonna be Mahomes versus Watson. Like
I did too.
that
Yeah.
was gonna be the AFC championship every like year.
Oh, don't
I
forget
thought so.
Lamar too, right?
Yeah, and
Lamar
then
was
Lamar
coming
was in
into
the
play
mix.
with the
Yeah, and
Baltimore. So
yeah, Baltimore and it was just gonna be the games to watch for the AFC, you know, and
we
it
had
would
a
have been like
step forward. I mean,
yeah,
we were going to be good to go in the
yeah.
AFC world.
It would have been like classic just because of the Houston KC history, Lamar Hunt, and then you know
Yes.
obviously with the Bud Adams stuff back then with the Oilers and stuff like that. Like that was a thing that you know I had heard that it was when Lamar Hunt started with the Chiefs. I think it was with the Dallas Texans. Y'all had the Dallas Texans at
Correct.
way back. And they were deciding those colors. Now I might be wrong here, but this is what I had read at some point. It was they were deciding Lamar really wanted the Oiler colors, but Bud Adams ended up taking the colors.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. And so like the history is there. So the Houston and the Casey thing is there. But man, I'm just
There's
like
so much relation there. It's like,
so much relations. Yeah.
how
And
cool would
so
that have been?
that would have been amazing just seeing KC and Houston go at it like year after year. But I mean, things happen. What can we do? But you know, at least you guys are on top. Y'all at least kept it consistent and y'all have good ownership. So there you are.
I think that's the biggest key, right? Is
Yeah.
ownership. If
Ownership,
it
man.
wasn't for ownership, we wouldn't be in this position.
Yeah.
You know, Andy Reid coming off that Eagles couple years of being just, you know, he was doing too much essentially for himself. So it was just bad record after bad record.
Mhm.
But you know, it's a guy that, you know, everybody kind of wanted to take a chance, but they weren't sure about it. And
Mhm.
Clark Hunt's like, no, we're going with this guy. And we were legit, I think, top 3 teams for Peyton Manning as well.
Mhm.
When he was a free agent at the
That's
same
right.
time.
Yeah. I heard about
And
that.
said he went to Denver, but like how
Mhm.
crazy would that have been if you had an Andy Reid and Peyton Manning combo?
Yeah.
Granted, Manning coming off that, I mean, injury, like it didn't matter after, obviously, with
Yeah.
the Super Bowls. But
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
it's like we were right in the mix too. It was like these things, like we just went first overall pick to almost landing Andy Reid and Peyton Manning combo.
Yeah. Well, I'll give you one. I'll give you another one as well. We almost had Peyton Manning also at one
Yeah,
point. We
that's
were
right.
in the run for that too, and then they said, "No, we're gonna stick with Matt Schaub." And
Famous last words.
famous last words, right? And so we stuck with him, and then you know, my boy Matt lost his confidence, I guess, or whatever, and then he just wasn't the same. And it started derailing from there. And then they fired Gary Kubiak and Wade Phillips. And like a year or two after that, they won a Super Bowl with Denver and Peyton Manning. So
Yeah.
it's like
It wasn't Gary still like that was just a start of his like health issues, right?
right. That was
Towards that last year or so.
technically he had a heart attack, or not a heart attack, but he had like I can't remember what it was, a
a
stroke
heart issue deal.
during
Yeah.
one of our games against
Yeah.
the Colts.
It was against the Colts, yeah.
I was
That's
there,
right.
like we were like shocked. We're like, why hasn't this game started? And we see like people surrounding the sidelines, and we were wondering, what is this? This was like 2013, I believe. So
That
and we
yep.
watched. It was a Sunday night game. If I'm not, I think yeah, it was a Sunday night game or Monday night.
It was a primetime game.
Yeah, it was a
when that
primetime
happened.
game too,
Yeah.
and so we were wondering like what was happening because like the game hadn't started. Like the game hadn't started back. It was like right after halftime, and it hadn't started yet. Everybody was wondering. Then like people just kept, I guess, telling people in the stands like that. Gary had not. I don't want to say it was a heart attack. It was more like a stroke or something. That something happened there with his heart, and so that to me, I think that's when it started, and then it just kind of
Escalated from there.
escalated from there to like I think when he started having those health problems in Denver, and didn't he become I think
He became an advisor role essentially.
advisor, and wasn't he an offensive coordinator for the Ravens at one point also, or was that before?
That was before, yeah.
Before, right? Okay,
Yeah, because after Denver, he just went into basically the office part, right?
Yeah,
being an advisor guy,
Yeah.
kind of like the Vikings head coach at one. I can't remember his name now, but he was an advisor for us when Mahomes came into play. So, but you know, it's kind of cool to see Kubiak continue to do what he did in Denver, right? After all that, and still try to fight through it. And you know, at least he went out, you know, with the Super Bowl there. So, you know, he was one of my he was one of the top one of my favorite coaches, honestly.
Yeah, no, Gary was great, and it's almost like what could have been, you know, like What could have
I
been?
know, right? If
I
it
know.
wasn't for some health issues and going to play, like just think of what he could have probably brought to the finished out
Table, man.
on his
Yeah,
own terms.
exactly. No, for sure. And we got some viewers right here going on. So just if anybody wants to send us a comment, whether you're on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, wherever you're watching us from, send us a comment. We'll post it up here as long as it's appropriate, and we'll put it on there or whatnot.
There goes double for Poppy.
Yeah, so it goes down for Poppy. He's supposed to be he's supposed to have plans, so he's over here commenting. anyway,
He just stay away.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, man, you guys have built a great team over there in KC. Like it's amazing what, like I said, we go back to ownership, like what you're, how much you're, they have cared to make these right moves and take a chance on Andy Reid, right after Philadelphia. So,
and by the way, when I say ownership and caring, it's not always, some ownerships are different, right? So this is an ownership that cared enough to be involved in a move, but after the move was done, they weren't involved in making moves. Like, so we see Irsay, right, with the Colts. I feel like he's touching too much.
Yeah,
I feel like
too much right now.
I feel like Kong down in Jacksonville backed off this year. I mean, granted, how can you blame him after last year? But I think with Doug Peterson, there was more confidence involved here this year.
Yeah,
that you didn't hear as much from him this year. Like you heard the last couple of years. And some owners, I feel, came around. Miami Dolphins owner is another one, right?
Yeah,
It's a touch crap. It's like Clark Hunt. I will give him the credit. Like he cared enough to like, hey, we got to do something here. Let's make some moves. But at the same time, he goes, but when I get my people in place,
just take a step back.
I'm taking a step back, and then I'm sure he intervenes when he needs to, but he's also probably at the same time like, hey, these are guys I brought in because I trust them. So it's like caring and intervening are two different things, right?
Right.
Like you don't want to be the Irsay who's overstepping the GM,
Or
like Jeff Saturday, right? Coming to play, and yet how does Ballard still have a job? That's all I want to know. Like you couldn't even hire a interim head coach or name one. You got outdone by your owner, and now you're still sticking around.
Yeah, I don't think the Colts are going to be like, they're not going to be relevant anytime soon.
That's
like,
scary.
It is a scary situation. Like your ownership is really like
he's that involved. You know what I mean? Like if I'm Ballard, I'd be maybe what Bill O'Brien was trying to do, get the hell out of there, right? Like if it's that much involvement, I don't
start trading picks here and there.
Yeah, like fire me, let me go.
Yeah, right? Trade.
He's a smart man.
Trade Jonathan Taylor for David Johnson. That'll get you. That'll get you fired.
Yeah, that'll get you fired. Yeah, we'll take John. You can have Davis Mills. You can have a quarterback. We'll trade him.
I'll drive him to Indy. Hop in the truck, Davis. I got you, man.
Jonathan Taylor from Michael Carter confirmed.
Yeah, right. That's how you do it, man. That's exactly. Yeah, Jim Irsay approves it.
That's what I think. I just think the ownership. I mean, rightfully so, obviously, but it's I love them intervening, like being involved, but they're not overstepping, and that's what Clark Hunt does. He's even. I don't know if I've told you guys this, but he comes in the parking lot. Like, Chiefs known for tailgate. Yeah. We got that whole lot all the way around the state, both Kaufman and Arrowhead there. Right. And he legit gets on a golf cart and likes to go look at the tailgates.
Really? He actually gets that involved.
He gets out and goes look at them and hangs out with some people, stops, says hi. I've seen him come by a few times when I'm out there.
Oh, nice.
And it's just cool. Like, he's just out there. He loves looking at, like, all the, new tailgates that are out there, or some of the really cool things out there. Like, guys have little mini buses, then they set up and have TVs and the whole shebang right there. It's like you're in a mini bar essentially. Yeah. And, I just think he loves just seeing the fans out there, of course, outside of the money aspect, but seeing the fans, the enjoyment. And, he talks with them too. And I think that's one of the coolest things. Yeah. Yeah. Instead of just having a team and tailgate and like, oh, thanks for buying the tickets and paying for parking. He gets out there and talks with them and gets the feeling for it. So,
oh yeah, but does your owner cook burgers for the fans?
I don't know.
No, ours did that to try to get that PR going. Like, I don't know, it was like put all over the Texas page, like Cal McNair decides to cooks burgers. I think it was like, I feel like he had a guy there and he just like showed up for picture time, but then I was like, all right, I'm leaving, Hannah. I cooked them burgers for him.
I took a bird at Hannah.
Didn't you see what I did? Did you see what I did?
See what I did? Yeah,
I mean, burgers for you guys. You can't
There
betray
was
me. Right?
that. Teams getting the haircuts together. I'm like,
yeah.
I guess
I think they're doing a
they made an effort. I'll give them that.
they're doing all that. There's supposed to be a uniform change also for the
Ooh.
Texans.
Which is long
Finally.
overdue, honestly.
Yeah.
They're thinking of. I'm pretty sure they're going to do a. We talked about it early a while back, and it was the game that Rios and I went against the it was against the Jaguars, which was basically a Jaguars home game again.
Yeah.
Everybody screaming Duval and no Texans. But coincidentally, it was during Fan Appreciation Day, Fan Appreciation Week or whatever. Like nobody showed up. That was the best part. I was like, dang, they let you have it.
Wow.
And anyway, so they had that was the best part. It was Fan Appreciation Day or whatever, and it was one of those things where Rios and I bought like cheap tickets, and then we ended up sitting like at the near the front. Like that was like what we did because like season ticket owners didn't show up.
I was like, hey Cal, hey buddy.
Yeah, we were waving at the president's box or whatnot. Anyway, so it was it was one of those things where we saw like they were promoting like the old Oiler colors. The Columbia blue, the light blue, and all that. Like that particular day, they even had like a they call it it's a H-town whatever, but it was like all in baby blue, not baby blue, but Columbia blue with the red. Like I feel like they're going to do some sort of somehow involve those colors in the new uniform,
Like an alternate, more than
like an alternate, but they can't really call it like Oiler or anything because I know the Titans own
the
like
Oilers
that,
part.
they're not gonna let that go. Like Adam, I can't remember
Bud Adams.
Bud Adams' daughter's name. I can't remember.
I
She
can't remember.
is it Amy? No, I don't know. Whatever her name is. She's like, no, we're never gonna sell it because it makes money, but they never use it until like I think next season they're gonna start using some of that or whatever. But
what is that? Amy Adams looks like.
I think
Amy Adams. Yeah,
it was right. Okay, so I was right. Amy Adams. Yeah, and so it's just sad. Like I wish we could get like the rights. So we'll just try a draft pick for that. One of the low ones.
we'll send you Davis Mills.
Yeah, we'll send you Davis Mills. Get for some Oiler color here. Anyway,
I mean, heck, they might need it,
right? Like at this point, because man, so that's another thing I want to talk about tonight. So like in the AFC, we have some teams, and both of those are in our division. I was going to talk about the Colts and the Titans. They don't have a QB basically next year. I don't think the Titans are going to stick with Ryan Tannehill, and I don't think the Colts are going to stick obviously with Matt Ryan. So I'm thinking one of those teams, just my opinion, I think one of those teams is going to get David Carr.
Or Derek Carr.
I said David Carr.
You don't
Derek
want
Carr.
You don't want David.
You
probably don't want Derek either.
Coming out the booth. No, Derek Carr. I apologize. I think one of those teams is gonna get Derek Carr on that roster.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I wouldn't be surprised either. Just
I'd go probably more. Well, it's hard because the Colts don't they have Matt Ryan for another year?
They do, and I think that's what I think. I don't think the Colts. I think the Titans more than the Colts, just because the Colts have actually come out and said we don't want like a Band-Aid quarterback anymore. But then again, then you have Jim Irsay doing all these things. So I'm like, I don't know what's happening there. It's a big, it's
so true.
It's so bad. Like I don't know what's happening, but I feel like I just feel like Derek Carr is going to be in one of those teams.
I think it's the right move would be the Colts because they play in the dome, right?
Right.
The move that'll probably happen is Tannehill goes somewhere and then Derek Carr gets dealt, or signs with the Titans on that part. I'd say if that was be the best case scenario on that, just for the fact that Tannehill, I think he is signed for next year technically, so they would have to trade him or let him walk. Yeah. But it's not the answer. It's not the answer.
It's not. It is absolutely not the answer.
Derek Carr in cold weather is a nightmare.
It is.
Yeah. He struggles in a dome. How do you think he's gonna do in 20-degree weather? It's gonna be.
I got to go see him when he was in Casey. It was what was it? 20 degrees out, and we had like it was one of the windiest days in Arrowhead, like 30 to 4 mile per hour winds. Yeah. Mahomes goes out, throws 2 bombs, no problem, right? Against the wind. Derek Carr flips over, whatever at the half or whatever. Derek Carr out here throws 3 picks back to back to back. Can't get the ball out, like the ball in the air, it just dies. And it's like 3 picks. And I'm like, this is really that bad. Like, I'm in person seeing this. We already knew how he is in cold weather, but oh my, what a difference!
Like seeing it in person I'm pretty sure it just adds on to it.
Oh, it does. Like you see it on TV and you're like, oh, whatever. Like it may not look that bad, right?
It's
Maybe
CGI, no.
but no, like it was a distance. Like the receiver's still going this way, the ball's going this way. So it was not pretty in that instance. And that's the Jets I know have been rumored to him.
Yeah,
bad
the Jets
move
also.
there. I think he has to go south. Tampa could be a spot. I think
Tampa
a high destination for him.
Yeah.
Or a dome place like Indy or
New Orleans.
Houston,
New Orleans too. Yeah, I think he goes to somewhere where the roof is like they have a roof at least, because like you said, the bad weather is Derek Carr's like kryptonite. Like,
it is.
Yeah,
that's why he's in. Like you see his wins against us and at home, like in the Arrowhead.
Yeah,
it's in the summer. It's still summer,
right?
And he can beat us. He can make the throws then. But if once it comes to December and he's an Arrowhead, just don't count on it.
Yeah. No, not at all. Yeah, man.
It's Davis Mills out there.
Right. Wait, what's temp 30? All right, back up.
Let's go. Yeah. Oh man. All right. So before we get into our actually, so the guys last week, Rios and Poppy, I was in there last week for our show.
Wrestling.
I was at San Antonio watching the Royal Rumble or whatnot.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, it was pretty fun. San Antonio, not really, but the the venue, the show itself was pretty fun. Right. Yeah. The Alamo Dome was terrible. Yeah, I don't like it. Anyway, so yeah. And yes, I will publicly say that I don't like the Alamo Dome. It was too crowded. Yeah. Anyway, so that's a different story. But anyway, so I wasn't there with the guys, and last week they had I think it was Marcus Thomas, is that correct, Rios? Who played for the Eagles
nice.
At one point. He was a running back for the Eagles. And I want to say the early 90s, is that correct, Rios?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, they were talking about the upcoming game against the Chiefs and all that. And so they made some arguments about why, Kansas City was going to lose, of course. So my question to you is, why do you think that KC is going to win in the Super Bowl? Or do you feel like, I'm as a home team person, I'm sure you're gonna root for your team, obviously. But
I'm always you're always rooting for your
team.
Yeah,
right? Always. Yeah. So what do you feel like your chances are realistically are to beat the Eagles?
I think currently, because we're unsure of where the injuries status is, with Snead, Juju, and Tony. I think Hardman's out, so I'm not going to count him in here. But I think with those three guys, especially Snead on the defensive side, I'm going to give us probably I'd probably make it a 60% chance.
Okay.
I'm going to take the Mahomes factor, granting that extra 10% just for the Mahomes factor. He's healthy. That ankle's not bothering him. Like we saw him kind of limp up in the Bengals game a little bit.
Yeah.
He's had 2 weeks, right? It'll be 2 weeks. If he was playing on it like that and looked like that and running like that, I ain't worried about the ankle.
Okay, so you don't feel like it's like a. Have they said if it's like a high ankle sprain or just a regular?
It's classified as a high ankle sprain, but it's not as serious. So
not like Ryan Tannehill serious.
Yeah, no, not really. Ryan Tannehill. They said the training staff and doctors or whatever said Mahomes' high ankle sprain he had obtained was not the worst case, because actually his knee, when he took his kneecap out, essentially that Broncos game, that QB sneak, that was worse. Apparently. So that was a worst case scenario. He's a weird guy with like double jointed crap, and like he could play all, like he almost could have played on that kneecap, but they kept him out obviously a couple games. So but he was running after that.
Yeah,
he's such a weird guy. But and hopefully that'll last for a while for him. But that ankle sprain is not going to be an issue, especially with him working out, practicing, and being able to rehab that for essentially 2 weeks.
Yeah.
On top of after what we saw Sunday with the Bengals, I'm not as concerned. So I'll give that 10-point swing, just for the sake of been there before. knowing that feeling, knowing how to deal with it. And also his O-line's healthy this time around. And they're freaking monsters as it is. If Orlando Brown can block on that left-hand side, we'll be fine. I think he'll be. I honestly think Orlando Brown's going to have a hell of a time over there because they're going to come all over that side to get after Mahomes on his backside. So, but I still feel like there'll be more times than not Mahomes will escape and do what Mahomes does, make those weird plays. Maybe he'll go sideways again and this time complete the pass. Maybe the receiver will complete the pass this time. But I think with that offense, as long as the line's healthy, Mahomes is pretty much healthy. I give him 90%. On that. And then having the tight ends there, Kelsey, Noah Gray, are essentially the top two guys that we need to be healthy for that tight ends side of things. Because Noah Gray's been actually really great this year as a backup to Kelsey on just the receiving end. So having him there, and then as long as we can have one of the guys back, Juju or Tony, at least one, I see no reason why the offense can't march down the field against the Eagles. We've seen, the Eagles team, they've had plenty of close games. Chiefs has plenty of close games. Chiefs live off of close games. Yeah. I don't know if you're aware of that this season. Yeah. They like to push the freaking button.
Push the button. Yep.
But, that's where I'm looking at.
No, it's understandable. I had concern, like personally, I had my concerns for you guys just for the the injuries and really just the injuries, and
the injuries is what might kill us here.
Exactly, and that's my biggest concern for y'all. Like I you seem like that's what I was gonna ask you mainly. Like how confident do you feel about it? And so going in with the injuries and whatnot, and you told us, but for me, I'm just like again, this is me as an outsider's perspective. I'm just like, man, I just. I don't see y'all coming out of it just for that reason, for the injuries, not because the talent isn't there. And obviously, I'm a big, I like Mahomes, I do. I just, to me, to me, I was just like, man, you guys have the injuries that's going against you. You have Mahomes, I know you said that, he's not, that is not the worst thing, but it's still not like 100%. It's still here and there. And I think
80% of Mahomes is better than 80% of the league.
So. No, you're absolutely right. I will give you that.
Maybe you gotta think about it here.
You are not wrong. You are absolutely not wrong. I will give you that any day of the week, twice on Sunday. You're absolutely right. Mahomes, 80% Mahomes is better than a lot of the league. Yes.
How I look at it, it's like if anybody's gonna win coming off of injuries like that, like having your receiving core depleted, and then just being banged up yourself once again because he played on that foot injury in Tampa too, on top of running for 400 yards behind the line of scrimmage. So, if anybody's going to do it,
it's going to be Mahomes.
It's going to be Mahomes.
Yeah, and that's the thing though, and that's honestly what I want to see. Like realistically speaking, on my standpoint, I do feel like the Eagles are going to win this one. Sorry, Tanner.
I don't blame you at all for that.
And that's mainly the reason for that, because I think the injuries obviously the Eagles are coming in hot, man. Like the Eagles are coming in hot. That's the only reason why. And that's literally the only argument I got. That's because of that. And the injuries, and that's why I think the Eagles are going to win it. But dude, if Mahomes just and I'm putting this on Mahomes because he's without Mahomes it's like I don't see it. But if Mahomes comes back and just ends up like being Mahomes, being him as we call it, like dude, how do you argue that that's not like the greatest quarterback right now? Like
how do you argue he's not number one in the league? That's all I want to say. Like how do you? I mean, you're already at that point.
There's no argument,
but like you can't argue past that.
Yeah, you can't argue that. Like, there's no arguing that at all. Like, if he wins this one, like, and a good part of me like wants to see y'all win it for that reason, because you can't like talk mess about Mahomes after that. Like, how do you do that? You can't.
No, Mahomes is an underdog right now, right? Currently, too. I mean, he hears it all, just like he did Burrowhead and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Just real quick, Andy Reid off a bye, technically a bye, 27-4.
Ah, okay.
Give Reid. I mean, Andy Reid. You know what he's doing right now, and he. It's not as depleted as the Bucs Super Bowl was, obviously, right? Mahomes shouldn't have to run 400 yards behind the line of scrimmage for his life, for his career, this time around. Yeah. So there's that, and there's also the fact that the Eagles. I mean, outside of Sue, I don't think any of them's. Well, Lane Johnson's been there. Never mind.
Yeah.
There's a few players, but like Jalen Hurts coming into a second year. Granted, impressive year. What a guy to have to turn that freaking year around from last year to this year and just capitalize off of it. What a guy. But you got Devontae Smith, second year. Yeah, AJ Brown, who's never been there, let alone played a healthy season till this year, essentially.
Right. The inexperience is
I mean, I think that's what it's come to. And it might be one of those weird games where maybe the Chiefs do jump out like to a 14-0. Yeah. First beginning of the second quarter. But then it's 14-14 at half. And then we go to play back and forth for a close game for the rest of the time.
Yeah.
It's going to be, honestly, this is probably the most exciting game that we're going to have. If it was the 49ers, I wouldn't be that concerned, honestly, even with the injuries. But since it's the Eagles, who's been dominant all year, played the close games, won the close games, I really like this matchup here. And of course, as a Chiefs fan, I want to win. But as a football fan, and I think you guys agree with me here, you want to see a damn good game.
Yeah.
Right? If you're going to do the Super Bowl, you don't want to see a Rams Patriots.
Oh
matchup.
God, one of the worst things. And
I
did not like it. I hated it.
And it wasn't necessarily even defense. Like defensive games are boring.
Yeah,
but it was just piss poor play.
I was interacting with my friends while watching this game, and that's something that I shouldn't do. I should be enjoying the game. I don't care about you guys. I just want to watch a good game.
Like that year, the Super Bowl halftime show was the highlight of the whole thing. The game.
It was the best thing there, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. See, I think that's what the best part about this matchup here is. It should be a pretty electric game, right? You're going to see defense, you're going to see offense, and you'll probably see some special teams beyond the two. So, there's no. Honestly, if you look around too, the Chiefs and kind of an under, what do I want to say? An underdog kind of defense right now. Like they're not big headlines, right? But they are high up in that stat range. I think they're like second or they're like sixth best. I can't remember what the stat was, but they're like one of the best in rushing the quarterback, for which I blew my mind going into the Bengals game because I really thought we weren't that great, but apparently I missed some stats going into the season. So like just having that ability, having that confidence. Playoff Frank Clark, fourth best in playoffs.
Yeah.
When it comes to sacking the quarterback, Chris Jones finally got his first sack last week.
Amazing. Yeah.
Hey, regular season Jones turned into playoff Jones finally, and we've been waiting. What 5 years for it?
5 years, right?
Years, whatever it was.
Yeah.
So
there's
a lot of positive stuff.
Yeah. After seeing that Bengals game though, like it made me like feel like good for y'all. Like I was like, wow, these guys. Because honestly, I expected the Bengals to win.
Oh,
it seems like when I rooted. Yeah,
it wouldn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, because the Bengals had like y'all's number for a good while, and then it, again with all this stuff happening, and it was like Mahomes fresh off the injury too, and it was just like, oh yeah, I don't think the Chiefs are going to win it.
And then you start seeing everybody go out, right? Sneaking out early, Juju, and you're like, who is he throwing to?
Exactly. Like what's going on? Who's he got? Is he going to throw into a lineman or something? Like
Irma Smith Marset, who came from the Vikings practice squad in like week 15 or something like that.
Yeah. They're going to start activating dudes from the practice squad mid-game. Like that's
all the NFL.
Hey, you look tall. Come down.
Any fan that has a jersey on the stands, hey, come here. Mahomes will make you better. Come on.
I was just waiting for us. Like we had 4 tight ends out of 5 tight ends activated.
Yeah.
I was just waiting us to throw in, 2 of those guys at least in the wide receiving slots. Like I'm just sitting there like, we got to do something.
It's gonna be like one of your linemen has to activate as a tight end in order to get a receiver.
But the Bengals deal, right? So I'll take this W because it was the AFC title game.
Yeah,
but they did beat us on my birthday. I was very upset about that.
Ouch!
But all 4 matchups, and this is why I'm hoping the Bengals actually don't lose a lot of pieces, and they kind of get stuff right because all 4 games have all been very entertaining. And this is kind of games you like as a football guy, and they're all within 3-point wins. As crazy as it sounds, it's all within 3 points.
Yeah. It's been been
those are the good games.
Yeah. Yeah. Being really close games, really good. Yeah, it's definitely those games are exciting to watch. Mahomes against Joe Burrow, it's fun to watch. And and that's what I wanted Watson and Mahomes to be. Like
that's what Mahomes and
could have
Watson would have been.
Yeah. I think I posted in my old like Twitter account. Well, I still have it, but I use it to troll. I posted. I had posted. I think it was like a year ago. Yeah, it was like a year ago. I posted. Joe Burrow is what the Texans wanted Deshaun Watson to be, and then Deshaun Watson blocked me. It was hilarious. Hey, whatever.
That's awesome.
I mean, whatever. And I was like, didn't think he was gonna read my tweets, but whatever. Anyway, so yeah, that's yeah. So for sure, I see your chances on it. I'm still picking the Eagles. Sorry, I just for that reason for me.
I don't like I said. I don't
see your point. Like I see why you. Yeah.
One reason why I'm picking the Eagles. Jalen Hurts.
Jalen
Hurts. He's from Houston. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Channel. Yeah. So yeah. That makes sense. We have to be biased at that point.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
No, I think it's an awesome matchup though.
It's gonna be good.
It wouldn't surprise. Like I said, it wouldn't surprise me either way on this one here. I don't think it's gonna be a blowout game, right? So I've heard a lot of people picking the Philly to win by 2 to 3 touchdowns.
I don't think
I'm
so.
like,
no.
you don't normally see that with Mahomes. You get the exception, but
I don't think so.
I
don't think it would be a blowout. I think it's going to be a close one, just like the Cincy game. That's
think
how
so
I see it.
too.
I don't see a blowout.
That's my belief. It's going to be the
by field goal.
Hey, you know what? Those are the best matchups, right? Going down the field, 30 seconds left, having to get that freaking field goal range going in.
Yeah, exactly. No, so it'll be close. Yeah, I think it's going to be a close game. If I don't see a blowout. Like you said, I'll agree 100% with you on that one. I don't see a blowout with Mahomes in there. No. I don't. Yeah, I think
a very back and forth game.
Yeah, it's going to be back and forth. He's going to get somebody's going to be the guy that catches him. Travis Kelce, it'll probably be him. It is where it is. So, with that being said, let's look forward into the draft. Okay, what do you think you guys are gonna pick? I know you guys are gonna be like whatever position you get on it.
Yeah,
like
31st,
either last or second to last. But
so
what do you feel like is your biggest need right now for the Chiefs?
That's a hell of a great question because I have not even thought about it. And it's here in KC too, by the way. So I'll be there. So that's a hell of a great question, man. I really hadn't even thought about it. I'm gonna be honest with you. Yeah. Like we're getting through the Super Bowl, then draft time will come because we're gonna try to heavy stuff up. If I had to pick a position though, for a first round, second round kind of stuff, I think it would fall back into the free safety range. There, I think there's a lot of opportunity to still Juan Thornhill. That's probably looking on its way out the door. So you're gonna be looking to replace that, that position there for a high quality talent. Yeah. And then I could see an outside linebacker, inside linebacker type come in to play on the defense side too, for the first, second round. Willie Gay I think it's coming to his final year this next year. A guy they may not re-sign after all. Who's kind of, dealt with injuries, but he's been effective when he's on the field. Off-field issue that one time where he, what did he do? He broke a vacuum and then got suspended for a game or two. And that was at home, by the way. It was nothing big. So, but yeah, I could see an outside linebacker, inside linebacker rookie coming into play, with that, and then probably a free safety there to replace Thornhill. I don't think we re-signed Thornhill. He doesn't want a team-friendly deal anyway. So, I don't see us going for a receiver. I don't see us going for a running back early on. I don't think we need any alignment. Well, left tackle. We might see a left tackle, Orlando Brown Jr. There's no way they keep him. He wants all that big money, but he's performed middle of the pack this year. He can get that big money elsewhere. In that, so left tackle could be a very well possibility. Thinking about it now, so I'd say left tackle on the offensive side. I could see that happen, but I could also see a free safety or another linebacker.
Okay, so you feel like more defensively, that's what's going to happen with you guys than anything.
And the whole reason, the whole reason for the defensive side is last year in the draft we went pretty heavy on defense as well. Yeah, with our secondary, right? We lost a lot of guys from our 2016-17 draft that we've had around for 5 years almost
Yeah.
4 or 5 years, we lost almost every single one of them outside of a couple in last year. So we had to replenish. This year we lose some more from the 2018, 2019 draft.
Yeah.
You're going to lose a few more. And it's just guys that you're not willing to re-sign. Yeah. So I really do think that, that's including Orlando Brown with the trade part. So, I really do think that you're looking just to replenish and high value, and that's where the draft's going to come into place. And so defense is going to be one of those positions, in aka linebacker, that it's going to affect you next year and in the year after.
Yeah, I can see that. All right, that's cool. So you guys go more defensively.
Yep,
that's not bad.
I would not be surprised on it. So
yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, no, I think if you guys have an Achilles heel, mainly, I would say, I think defense for you guys. And I can't recall, and correct me if I'm wrong here, I can't recall a time when you guys had like in recent time, at least, where you guys had like a straight, like, top defense or anything like that. I've always seen like little holes here and there, even when you had Tyrann Mathieu on there, like I just saw him there, but I didn't really see much of that. Yeah. Or am I wrong here?
It was, I think our last true defense, honestly, was probably 17, 18, 19. Back then, like a lot of young guys, high flying guys. Yeah. And even you consider that middle to lower of the pack, right? Kind of around that 9-10 range. But no, we haven't really had a true defense since Derek Johnson days.
90s, man, taking it back.
DJ days, like Eric Berry, DJ, doing that stuff. Like ever since then, though, nothing to that caliber. No.
Yeah, that's understandable.
Just enough to cause trouble and make the plays they need to play. Obviously. So
there you go. All right. So before we go, we're gonna end the show in a little bit, but we didn't really get a chance to talk to you like personally or whatnot. So how long? So we're done with our sports stuff. So when did you get into podcasting, Tanner?
So let's see here. Where are we at? 2020 was when we did it. It was one of those things that me and JG and Mike for the Sports Buffoons, we've always talked about it previous years, right? Just never did it. And 2020 hit, everybody locked down, couldn't do anything. And, I was like, let's just do it. So I looked up, some mics, a mixer, and I had a PC that I thought could run pretty well. I was wrong, but it worked for what I needed. But
it's always a PC.
Oh, it's technology has been my so mad about that stuff. So, but we started in 2020. We did our right around the same time mock draft. So in right beginning of the fantasy season, right before fantasy began, we did a big mock draft, which was essentially our second episode. And we've always talked different sports, NFL, and NBA, and occasional NCAA basketball and MLB. So
yeah,
we brought in the Sports Buffoons. And
what's with the name? I was like, what's with the name? Just
so I don't know. It kind of just came upon us as we were walking, and we were all just kind of coming with ideas. And somebody called, I think it was JG. I think somebody called JG a buffoon one day, and just talking to him.
Yeah.
And then a text, I got the text, and I was like, "How about Sports Buffoons?" And I'm like, "Let's do it."
Yeah.
So we did Sports Buffoons, and I made a little logo on Canva, and
Canva rolls.
Since
Canva rolls
huge, huge,
amazing, isn't it? Like I did like this background that we have here just on Canva. It was, it's very basic.
Oh, that's nothing. Right outside of the logo. So the logo, I actually had this part I had redone and stuff like that. Yeah. I had a little promo code deal, so I used Fiverr.
Oh, there you go.
And they got me some stuff cheap. Dude. Less than $100. So.
Oh yeah, like this is cool. Like your logo right on the Whiskey Sports Podcast. Okay, tell me about that one. How did that one come about?
So last year, I kind of came about. So on the Buffoons, after a year, we kept going. I'm like, hey, I want to do more content, but the guys didn't really want to participate, right? So I did this little thing on the Buffoons channel called Bubba's Place. My nickname's Bubba. So I was like, I'll do that. Have a drink, and we'll talk sports, basketball, whatever, came to it. Yeah. And I ended up, I don't know, it just didn't really click with me. And I'm like, I don't like that. So then I got on Let's Talk Sports, right, with Dan.
Yeah.
And I started, Dan, man, I'm telling you, huge guy, huge connection there. And I started doing a lot more shows with other people. And then I started doing the month of was it July and August. It was fantasy. I did fantasy every night leading up to my big NFL draft, which was the week before the NFL season.
Mm-hmm.
So I did every night. I would do an hour to 3 hours of just fantasy mocks on the Buffoons channel. And then I was thinking about it about halfway through the season. I'm like, about halfway through the season. And I'm like, why don't I do my own channel? Like if I can't, I'd like this to be the group channel where I get JG, Mike, or myself, at least two of us on. I'm like, I'm gonna do my own channel. So then I started thinking on names, and had a whiskey around. And I'm like,
there you go.
Let's go Whiskey Sports.
Yeah.
So I made it a Whiskey Sports, and where I kind of just do my own thing. I didn't do a lot of content initially, as I was still trying to figure stuff out here, just behind the scenes. But it's starting to come up a lot more here.
Yeah.
Especially thanks to Dan on that part.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean
Dan.
Thanks to Dan, like I was able to, I got enough confidence, and the community is great. So where I can basically yell at anybody and hey, let's go chat for a minute if I want on, or if I can just sit here and explain, do sports bets with people or myself and just talk and stuff like that. So something where I could be more creative and more control on my channel, where I don't have to worry about the thoughts of the other two essentially come into play. So
for sure. It's awesome to see that. Like we credit Dan a lot too for like finding us. Like he messaged me one random day, and I just no offense, I thought it was some weirdo because I didn't know you. I didn't know you. Sorry, Dan. And so I was like, what? And we had like 100 something followers. I always say 150, but we weren't sure on Twitter or whatever. Probably less than that. And I always say 150 because that kind of doesn't look too bad. Anyway, so I was like,
35.
I get a message. Yeah, right. I get a message from this guy, and it says "Let's Talk Sports," and I'm like, "Is this a real thing?" Because I didn't, we're like, we're not good or anything. We're still not good, but like, we were. It was like crap right now, and then lower than crap, like 50 feet. What was that line from Moneyball? Like 50 feet, and then like we weren't like we were still starting out. We couldn't think of how to ask questions correctly. We still can't, but at least we're a little better off now. But you grow with time, and that's all it is. You grow with time, and so when Dan reached out to us, I was like, I don't know if it was real or not. And then like he told me check out my YouTube channel, so I went in and I saw, oh wow, this guy's legit. Like he has different podcasts on there and stuff like that, and little by little he's like, you want us to share your podcast? I was like, yeah, definitely. And I think that's when we started going into YouTube like a few months ago, because we started out in audio, just straight audio. On
you're just doing like through Anchor or something like that?
Yeah, Anchor, and then editing through Audacity, and it was just like us. It was like us. It started with me and Poppy I originally started by myself because I had COVID during like spring break of 2022 last year. I had COVID and I just started talking like it was therapy, and
all delirious.
All delirious, and so I was like, I'll just try it because like you said, you just kind of had an idea and you don't know how to go about it, and so we just kind of did that.
Go with it,
you go with it, and then I started researching, and I've always said this, and I still don't know who to credit. I was like randomly listening to podcasts on Spotify, and some guy motivated me, and I can't think of who. And he said the coolest line, and it was like, any random idiot can start a podcast. And I was like, I'm a random idiot, and so I started researching, and before you knew it, boom, like you're there, you're talking to yourself. I start talking to Poppy at a family thing, and then Rios comes in as a guest, and he never left. And he never did. He was supposed to be in for one show, and then he's
just like, when's the next show? I'll be on.
Yeah, when's the next show? And I think weren't we talking about Angel Hernandez when you came in on that one? I think.
Yeah.
We were talking so much trash about Angel Hernandez after watching him like being up for like one of the Astros games that we were watching.
Which game?
I can't remember, but we were looking at his percentage, and it was like, I can't remember how much the percentage, but it was so low. We're like, how do you keep a job with that? With those rate, with that type of grade or that score, or whatever.
And you're sure he'd been fired long.
And then he goes and complains why he's never in a World Series. Like, really, bro? Like,
anyway, my brother's got some stories. I can't say them on air.
No,
I told him I wouldn't. But my brother, he's the hitting coach for the Milwaukee Brewers.
Oh, sweet.
So I get
we're
to
gonna
go
have
up and
him
see
on.
him. So yeah, I know, right? I'm trying to get him on mine,
bro.
So he's just been, obviously spring training's around the corner,
Right,
so he's been
right.
saying. But yeah, he had some stories. I just can't say them.
No, of course, yeah. Don't worry about it. Yeah. And so, like that, a few people. Oh, yeah.
I know, right?
All right,
Trust
too
me.
late. Sorry, start your own podcast. No, and so, and be that random idiot like I was. And so, dude, like, I don't know if, because I don't think I don't think we knew each other yet. Because I know Dan brought us in, and we were under the Texan Talking podcast at one point. We were like
that name actually sounds familiar.
Yeah.
I think I saw you guys at one time. I think I was right. You were still in, because that's when you just came on YouTube or something.
Correct. Yeah.
I was like, oh, look, a Texans podcast. So.
Yeah, exactly. Because we're not around. There's not that many of us.
There really isn't.
There really isn't.
The few,
there's like 50 Cowboys ones, and
Marines, the few and the proud.
Yeah, the few and the proud.
Very
podcast. Yeah. And so, yeah, exactly. We weren't that many around. And so I told, we had the boys and we had like a little like heart to heart. We're like, hey, y'all, like there's the Texan Talking podcast sounds okay, but it kind of just
limits us
and of the things we can do or whatever. And we always used to say this thing at the end of the Texan Talking podcast from like day 1 or day 2. It was like, if you don't agree with us, it's cool. Like we're just fans, and stuff like that. Almost like a disclaimer, like to whatever.
No, not a professional.
Not a professional, just a fan, y'all. And
we wanted to do OnlyFans, but it was taken apparently. So
Rio suggested that, and it was taken. Sorry, Rios.
When I told Botkins, I go, because he said on our game day show when he was telling you guys were going to be on the show, and he was saying it something. He was like just fans or something. I go, that's a perfect name for them. And he goes, isn't that their name? I go, we're just fans, but I like just fans because it's just like only fans, but just fans.
It's dirty enough.
Yes.
And that's how we describe Rios, just dirty enough. He goes along with the podcast.
Yeah. So did you guys? I know you're trying to wrap up,
but this is fun stuff.
So you guys did Anchor and all that. You used Canva, Audacity. Did you ever? Currently, do you guys use any OBS?
No, we just use StreamYard, man. Like, when we download the audio and then we just put it on Anchor.
Oh yeah, I mean that's what I did. So currently I got a green screen back here.
Yeah.
And this is how I use OBS, and you can do a virtual camera essentially in it. You can project. So like, I find it to be higher quality through OBS virtual camera than StreamYard.
Ooh, all right.
And
check it out.
I just got myself actually what I'm using here. Yeah, I used to use my iPhone.
Yeah, that's what I'm using now, my iPhone, in order to give me better quality.
And I had such trouble with the app after they updated it to that stupid. You had to actually open an app now.
Yeah,
and it just doesn't connect wirelessly.
Yeah,
I had such issues, so I went out and Amazoned it and found me a cheap Lumix camera, and that's what I use now.
I think that's what Poppy has. Poppy got one too because he was tired of using that. For some reason, like the StreamYard, whenever he got on, it would like kick him out. We thought it was
that's what it kept doing to me. And so like I would do like cool things, like when JG's gone, I have like a little tiny green screen I can like roll around and like put places. Yeah. So I'd get them on Google, and in the OBS I can then bring him in and like put him on the green screen. So like he's right in there sitting with us.
Oh wow.
But then my phone just kept disconnecting. So all you saw was black, and then Jason just sitting there. It's like
sitting in an empty spot.
I can't win. So I said, screw it. Bought me a Lumix camera. Let me tell you what, my life has been 1,000 times easier in the technology world.
I might end up going that route, because we're gonna have like we're doing as of tomorrow, we're starting to have watch parties on this channel, and we're watching was it The Last of Us?
Yeah,
the show on HBO. And so, but we're gonna be in like the same room. Like, we're still trying to figure things out. Like, we're gonna be, because we used to. Okay, so when we first started, it was like us three sharing like one microphone. So it looked kind of like on Audacity, like on Odyssey, whatever. Audacity, Audacity. Sorry, there's Odyssey and Audacity. Sorry. Yeah, and so like, but people couldn't see us, like, but whenever like somebody
this close, like
we were like this close, just like passing the microphone to each other, because we didn't know about mixes. We're still like new at this stuff too, so we're like now more in depth, And so
I've learned a lot. I've learned. Tell you what, man, I've learned tons on this.
I thought it was easier, and it wasn't. It was completely the opposite. Like, there's so much things you have to invest in, like StreamYard. Like, you have to pay monthly for StreamYard. Like, it was because we used to use Zoom, and then Zoom's quality was awful.
Awful.
And then like my microphone, I was like, I bought a decent microphone. Why do I sound terrible on it? And then like I remember like the biggest thing, like some guy commented on our on my what was it on our YouTube, like one of the first videos that we had, and he's like, Poppy and Rio sound good, but man, Carlos's microphone makes me want to turn off this channel. And I was like, dang, dude, that one stung a little bit. and then I researched, and yeah, it's awful. So
yeah, there's that dynamic mics. There's whatever the heck the other one is. We had the other one, right, where you could hear everything around the mic.
Yeah, that's the one that I had.
Yeah, and so I have those in a box because
the
we
Yeti?
What?
Blue Yeti? Something like that?
No. It was some like Chinese brand, man.
Oh, okay.
I went out and got me, like, we started cheap.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, there has to be a better way to sound better. So my brother, during the lockout, right? So he had nothing better to do. So he came out and talked football with us. And he bought himself a mic. Let's just buy a mic, dude. I don't care. Plug it in. We got aux, the whatever cable, and put it in, and you couldn't hear him.
Yeah.
And it was like, well, I can't turn the volume too much because then we're gonna act like we're screaming in the mic, and he's gonna be fine. So I just started doing some research after the second time, and I'm like, why isn't this working? Found out that there are two different types of mic, dynamic and whatever else it is.
Yeah.
So I told Jason and Mike, I go, we got to invest in some mics, man.
Yeah.
And so we got these Zoom ones.
Yeah.
Fabulous. Like,
no, because you sound great
here. Yeah, you have to talk into here.
Oh, I got the audio.
You can't do that. Yeah. Well, you can, but like it doesn't work as well. But so it was like a headset mic combo.
Yeah.
And so my next so I do got the mixer and everything else like that set up. So my next thing I want to invest in here, something here down the road. It's called the Rody or something like that mixer.
Yeah. Okay.
Clearer than anything. So basically you plug your mics in just like a mixer. It has controls. A lot easier controls. It's a USB into your computer.
Yeah.
And even your headset jacks are inside the deal, and you can hook up your phone, you can hook your desktop, and like a third party and a Bluetooth.
Dude, that's so easy. That's so.
What's Look it up. It's Rody, I believe it is.
Rody, okay.
Yeah, I can send it to you, but it's a new deal.
Because I know that I've seen you guys. I think it was. I can't remember if it's on the whiskey or the sports buffoons. Like I've seen you like in person with like two other dudes.
Yep. Yeah, that's the sports buffoons.
Yeah, sports buffoons, and that's what we're trying to do. But we couldn't because of we're technology. We're not tech savvy at all. Like,
I'm tech savvy, and I have had a hell of a time, man. And I've done so much research.
I worked in IT, and I still have trouble with this stuff.
Yeah. It's like so. If you go view our first few episodes, we were on YouTube. Like one of the episodes, it was off my laptop, crappy laptop, and I was trying to do a green screen. Well, I had the buffoons thing up. Little did I know, somehow I connected it to one of the YouTube videos. So as we're starting the video, all of a sudden you see like it start playing in the background, and I'm on my computer like,
what is happening?
What the hell's going on here? What's going?
Escape!
And I'm using this 720p, not even getting that webcam. Like we're in Mike's apartment, and man, I'll tell you what. Some days I was just getting ready to just toss it and say screw it, but I keep fighting for it. I'm having a blast with it. Met really cool people.
That's the best part.
So Botkins and I, we started actually out when he started on. I was like, hey, Nick, come on and do a show with us. Me and JG were doing an NBA show, and on Monday nights. Well, Botkins hopped on, then he kept hopping on, kind of like Rios, right? So
he never left.
Yeah, and so I was like, let's. NBA is coming up, the end of the season, finals done. JG doesn't want to do a Monday night anymore. I'm like, these are perfect nights for me. I asked Nick, he go, hey, you want to do a show together? Like we can talk whatever. And he goes, yeah, that'd be cool. So then we found out and named it Buffoon Botkins.
Oh, nice.
So we do kind of shows inside of our YouTube. So Wednesday, Sports Buffoons. Saturday, actually today was the first episode. We're going to call it In the Hoop. It was in the loop this morning, and then I was like, hey, this is a great idea. In the hoop. Yeah. Me and JG will talk NBA. every Saturday morning. And then Monday nights is Buffoon Botkins on the Sports Buffoons.
That's awesome. Yeah.
And then on my whiskey, I do sports betting, which I'm working on some models. So I quit for a little bit because I want to be, I want to give quality content out here. So
right.
I'll do sports betting. I'll do the shows Dan sets up. Dan and his shows, man, always solid. And then kind of anything extra, right? Going on with you guys, doing other stuff like game day shows, stuff like that. So kind of a big old breakdown.
Oh yeah, no, it's amazing. Like after a while, it's so funny because when you look back at like how you started, like and going at it now, it's like wow, you really like completely changed everything. Like,
I'm telling you what, from when I started to what we're at now,
a big difference.
Big difference.
Yeah, exactly. Same.
I went from being the lost puppy to being on ESPN twice. So
yeah, this dude was on ESPN radio twice.
Twice?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Here in Houston, by the way, locally, like the local radio station.
I've heard some stuff. I've actually watched some of their ESPN Houston stuff too.
Yeah.
So
he's like, and he's been on there twice. We've gotten like, we've gotten like people who have actually played in the NFL to join us, and which is crazy. Like I said, we had Quentin Demps that one, we had Quentin Demps on, and he, I messaged him today because he was in Houston. I sent him a message. So, hey, bro, good to see you back in the H. And then he's like, he sends me he sees my stuff and then he likes it and stuff like that. I'm like, dang, like it's so crazy. Awesome. Like 2 years ago, you would have never thought you'd be talking to like NFL players and stuff like that. We had Seth Payne, who does the morning show here in Houston for the Texans and stuff like that. Every morning. The dude, I still have the clip. I saved it because there's no way that I was going to save it. He had, we had him on and he hung out with us and he had fun. And then the next morning he goes off on sports radio 610 here in Houston and says, oh, last night I was in the podcast yesterday with these guys from the We're Just Fans podcast live on air for all of Houston to hear it. And I was like, wow, he said our name, right? And then he goes off and he's like, let me just check. He's like, yep, it's the We're Just Fans podcast. Great group of guys or whatever. And he just
awesome.
Twice. This dude like promoted our stuff twice.
That's huge.
It with just just randomly. And he was talking about, because we were proving a point right before we got D'Amico as our head coach or whatever, like the week before. And it was so cool hearing like our name, and it just kind of felt like dang, we're making a little noise here and there, it's something.
We're in the right direction.
Yeah, I mean that's what you want. It's just progress, right? I mean, that's all I look for. Like now, in the past we were getting, maybe 5 to 10 views on YouTube. Mm-hmm. Now we're almost at a constant 30, which is a huge for me for a constant thing, right? Mm-hmm. You're looking for consistency. So
consistency, that's the key.
That's all I'm looking for. Like so my big one with Lonnie March Jr. I had a couple weeks ago on defensive end for the Chiefs, Oilers. Right before they came to the Titans, Oilers, the Jags, and the Bucks. He played with like John Lynch and some of those other guys in the 90s.
Yeah.
Derek Thomas, the guy was a blast. He was he's so nice and stuff. So
and it's so cool to interact with them because it's so cool to interact because they're just hanging out with you and they're just being so as candid as possible. Like it's so
always they tell me it's like, man, like stuff you wouldn't hear like normally. Like
you wouldn't like I just try to get stories out of people, right? That's all I want to hear. I can listen to players talk all day, but I try to remember when I speak to those guys what my brother taught me or what my brother told me. He's like, hey, they're just guys like us. In the end, they're just guys like us with really cool experiences.
That's it.
And I'm like, okay, I can do that. I can deal with that then. Like talking with certain guys. So
yeah, we had a I think I don't know if Rios, I think we're part of it. We had this old wide receiver, not old, but like he was a wide receiver for the Texans, Jacksonville Seal shorts.
Yeah, I was there.
And he was you were there. I can't remember that because I know it's usually you. Yeah, you haven't missed a show.
Always me. I've never missed. So.
And so take that, Poppy. No, anyway, so we had it's what attendance looks like. That's what commitment looks like. You're on waivers now, sir. No, anyway, so y'all want him where he's a free agent now. Y'all want him over there in KC?
We'll talk to Nick Botkins on that.
Yeah, let's talk about it. He's a free agent.
I'll drive him.
Yeah, we'll drive him. Take him. No, and so I remember that like I was so nervous. Talking to this dude. And like I messed up like a question that I asked him about like because he was a receiver and he played with he played with DeAndre Hopkins.
Okay.
And and I was asking him. It was a question, and when I look back at it now, it's like one of those moments where I'm like, why would I ask that? Such a dumb question. It was about height. Do you think smaller receivers have a better chance of catching the ball than taller? I'm like, of course, like you idiot. Like, why would you? And even him, he was like, you mean like we have a better chance? I was like, yeah, something like that, and. He was really cool about it. He wasn't, and then it just I rewatched that several times, and I'm just like I had to practice how to deliver questions better because I'm like, because you have your moments.
The more you do it,
Yeah.
the better you're gonna get, right?
Yeah.
Like talking with you guys here. If you caught me a year ago, I mean, I probably be like, oh yeah, super nice, just I don't know anything, but like now I'm comfortable because I've talked with a lot of other people, so.
Yeah.
It's just doing it, in the end.
The more you do it, the better. Yeah.
It's like the kid Ash on Twitter that does Let's Talk Sports.
Yes,
I don't know if you see him.
Right. I think I've seen him.
We had him on the show one time, and I go, just do it, man. Just
go
whatever you do.
Yeah.
Don't listen to the haters. Just do it.
Yeah.
The more you do it, the better it will be. So.
There you go. No, and I appreciate also the time that you guys had us on the show, man. That was good stuff. Like the first time during the season, we were nervous. Rios and I were nervous because we're like, man, what do? Well, I mean, I don't know about Rios, but I was nervous. I was just like, like we're actually on somebody else's show this time. It's not like we're just having them on our show and we're just messing around or whatever. But it was like we were on somebody else's show, so it was different. It wasn't the same thing because you're not.
You're not controlling it, right?
Yeah, and usually you're used to that, and so I just like you guys were asking us questions, and I was like, oh, cool. So it's just, it's like give or take, whatever. And I remember looking at it, I was like, oh crap, I was trying to take control without even noticing it. Like I was like, oh no, and so I watch every single one of the things that we do because I'm just like I want to see how not to mess up sometimes or what
just like maybe what you could have done better like in that situation, right?
There you go.
Like studying different. Looking for what you did good, what you did bad, what you need to work on.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Right. Yeah, and stuff like that, like early on, Mike, when we were doing the buffoons thing, Mike would always host, right? He'd always be the main guy, and he would dictate the way the show went.
Yeah.
Well, all of a sudden I started doing my own thing, And I'm like, I gotta learn how to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And so it took me a little bit to finally get comfortable. And then we started the game day show. Yeah. Well, Dan's out here, Dan the man. He's out here throwing 15-minute intervals at me with a guest in an hour and a half span. Right. And so I'm like, I looked at Nick and Johnny, and I think I let one of those guys do it, and we were behind by like 10 minutes each time. Yeah. And then the second week I go, hey, or no, it's the third week. I got my chance. I'm like, you know what? Let me try it. Out here, man, we cruised through that sucker. We finished out at 11:30 Central, and we were rolling, man. I was like, hey, this is fun. So then I kind of, whenever I was on time, as much as I was, Sunday morning, getting up after Saturday nights are always fun. So
always fun, yeah.
But, it's like, as I did that game day show this year, it's improved my ability to lead shows. Just that small, being able to do that for that span was huge. Be able to dictate like certain conversations and when to get ready to move on to the next thing. So practice, man. It's essentially you get to talk sports, you get to meet cool people. At the same time, you get to learn a new craft. Is what I look at it as. So
exactly, it's fun, dude. Like I had to change my camera because my camera kind of goes slow. See the iPhone thing.
See, I'm telling you,
and so I'm gonna try that over.
Get a Mac laptop and have none of these issues.
See, Rio's like ended up getting a laptop. Like what was it? What'd you get? A MacBook, and then apparently his microphone sounds okay. His quality of video is fine. I'm like, dude, but I'm not.
It looks pretty good, actually. Yeah. I will admit.
Don't compliment him. Don't compliment him. It goes to his head.
Not the hoodie, just the laptop.
Oh, man. You had to go there, didn't you?
Sorry, did I do that? I'm sorry. My bad.
I look forward to that matchup, honestly.
I can't wait, dude. We're gonna have so much fun though when this officially kicks off in the Big 12.
Oh man, I know it's gonna be so much fun.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
see. I'm not too much into basketball, unfortunately. I never.
We're trying.
That's we're trying.
Well,
they're trying to get me up there again, but I
that's what we
can't.
do with Mike, and I mean Mike's an NFL guy, so it's like pushing
Yeah.
Mike in the NBA world the last couple of years, and he's done better.
Yeah.
Still to improve. I mean, he finally picked a team, which was the Suns,
Oh,
because he
wow.
loved Devin Booker. So, but
Okay, that makes sense. I was like,
but
okay,
it's just that's a start, man. It's just pushing them into a different sport and trying to get them comfortable with it outside of NFL.
Yeah, that's all it is, and I think that's my thing. I'm more comfortable with NFL and MLB than NBA, and even though I like the Rockets, I'll go for the Rockets any day, but I'm not. I can't really sit there and argue with you about it. You know what I mean? Because
I'm a big mix, right? I don't really have a set sport. Like I love watching almost anything, but I love paying attention to it. So even if I don't watch it, I still look back and see the storylines, see the news and their stats and everything like that. So like hockey, something new as of this last year, I've been trying to get more into. At least trying to understand some of the reasons. Like I've even watched a few games. Granted, sports betting helps you do that. But just trying to get more into a sport that's different than what I'm used to. So
I've been hearing a lot of it too here, because we used to have. I mean, we didn't. Ours wasn't professional. It was. Excuse me. It was professional, but it was like not NHL related.
Yeah.
We used to have the Houston Aeros, and so lately, like, there's been a lot of talk about having a team in Houston, and I'm like, I may start getting into the hockey stuff. It just depends, but we'll see how it is. I'm still not.
It's cool.
I think I'm still ready.
Yeah, it's just something new, And like NCAA, I'll cover. I like football, basketball. I'll pay attention to that. NBA, MLB. I like that. I'm like that. Like Jason's NBA, Mike's NFL, and then here's me with a big bag of mix right in the middle.
All right, man. Well, Tanner, I loved having you on the show, man. Thank you for joining us.
I appreciate you guys.
Dude, you got to come back, and we'll have to do some more collabs. Going into the draft and going into my dogs are going crazy. Going into the draft and just whenever Houston goes against Kansas. So we're doing that.
Hey, I'm excited because this year I don't have to mock draft the Houston Texans this year. I did it for Dan last year, and I ended up taking Jalen Watson in the 7th round for you guys.
Yeah,
and he ended up being a Chief. So,
I was gonna say,
I really liked him, so I don't have to do that this year. So
I'm telling you, it's gonna surprise us. I think somehow we're gonna end up doing some stuff for the draft, because I know a lot of eyes are gonna be on us too. And
are you guys coming up?
What do you mean? Like, we're coming up?
You come to KC for it?
Oh, no.
Okay.
No. Yeah, no, not at all. Not that I don't want to. It's just that I just I don't.
Well, the Final Four is in Houston. I'm trying to catch at least one game. I might be
that's true.
On top of the stadium, but I'm gonna be there with binoculars.
Binoculars. Yeah.
I'm trying to get that Sweet 16 Elite 8 action when it's in KC this year too. So
there you go. All right. Well, Tanner, thanks again for joining us, man. I appreciate you.
Thank you
for coming on. We got to have you on more often as well. Right. And we'll do some more things again, going into the draft, the Final Four stuff. It should be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Just yell, man. Just yell.
I got you. We got you, man. Yeah. All right, man. Well, that's going to be our show for tonight. Again, shout out to Dan for making all this possible. Dan, you rock. You're Dan the man.
Rock on, Dan.
Yeah. Rock on, Dan. All right, man. We'll see y'all next week, on live Saturday night from the We're Just Fans podcast, shown through. Oh, I was gonna say it's backwards. And we'll see y'all through Let's Talk Sports as well. As you can see, Tanner is, I believe he's rooting for the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. I'm not sure yet.
Just a little bit.
Yeah. So you got a message to anybody out there who are Chiefs haters?
Just watch out, guys. Kingdom's coming. Kingdom is coming.
There you go. All right, guys. Well, again, thanks. See y'all tomorrow on this show. We will have a watch party for The Last of Us. We should be fun. We've never hosted a watch party before, so I don't know what's gonna happen, but it's gonna be you're gonna see everything that happens. Yeah. All I hope is Rio stays with a shirt on. That's all I hope.
No promises.
No promises. All right, guys. Appreciate y'all. We're gonna hit the outro. See y'all next time. Peace.